Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin 1. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American history, one that might be hiding in your pocket change or your grandparents' coin jar. It's a tiny copper coin that once bought a stick of gum, but now could be worth an absolute fortune. We're talking about the Lincoln wheat penny from the year 1940, struck at the San Francisco Mint. At first glance, it looks like just another old penny. Small, brown, and worn by time. But don't let its size fool you. This little coin carries with it a story of war, transformation, and hidden value. And by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly why one rare version of this 1940s wheat penny has stunned collectors and sold for a jaw-dropping sum of money. Let's take a step back in time to truly appreciate what this coin represents. The year was 1940. America was just beginning to emerge from the Great Depression, and the world was watching the fires of war spread across Europe. Although the United States wouldn't officially enter World War II until the following year, the country was already shifting toward wartime production and national unity. In the midst of this historic time, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the Lincoln wheat penny, a symbol of American strength, modesty, and continuity. The Lincoln wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, was already a beloved piece of American coinage. With Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile on the front and two stalks of wheat curving along the reverse, it celebrated both leadership and the strength of the American people. But by 1940, subtle changes and hidden rarities had begun to creep into the minting process, turning ordinary coins into collectors' dreams. The S on the 1940s penny stands for San Francisco, where a limited number of these coins were minted. While millions were produced, not all 1940s pennies are created equal. That's where things get really interesting. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. A penny that went straight from the mint to a collector's hand, untouched and perfectly preserved, holds vastly more value than one that rattled around in someone's pocket for decades. But aside from condition, there are even rarer variations, tiny differences and minting mistakes that make a coin truly one of a kind. Some of these 1940s wheat pennies were struck using worn dies, resulting in doubled images, misalignments, or other unique features. And these errors? They're like gold dust to serious collectors. Imagine holding a penny that's over 80 years old, with perfectly crisp edges, sharp detail, and a lustrous red copper shine, as if it was just minted yesterday. Now imagine that same coin has a rare minting flaw, a doubled die, a repunched mint mark, or a perfectly struck off-center strike. These are the hidden gems buried within the 1940s series. To a casual observer, it might look like any other penny. But to someone who knows what to look for, it's a potential jackpot. Collectors and appraisers across the country have been on the lookout for high-grade examples of the 1940s Lincoln wheat penny for years. And in recent times, a few astonishing specimens have come to light, coins in such extraordinary condition and with such rare features that they have fetched breathtaking prices at auction. This isn't just a story about old metal. It's about history, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. Every coin has a past, but some also have a destiny to surprise and enrich whoever discovers them. So, the next time you're sifting through your change or leafing through a dusty old coin collection, take a moment. Look closely. That little copper wheat penny might just be your golden ticket, because one such 1940s Lincoln wheat penny, in mint condition and carrying a rare variation, has been valued and sold for an unbelievable $135,000. So don't underestimate the power of the penny. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your fortune is already sitting in your pocket. If you enjoyed this story and want more discoveries from the world of rare coins, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment below. Coin 2. We're heading back in time to the heart of American history, right into the World War II era, to explore one of the most iconic and beloved coins among collectors, the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny. It might be small in size, but don't be fooled, this humble penny could be worth a life-changing amount of money if you happen to find the right one. So grab your magnifying glass and maybe even your old coin jar, because after watching this, you'll want to take a second look at every single wheat penny you've ever come across. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny is so much more than just 1 cent. Let's jump right in. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most legendary coins in American numismatic history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's face. The design, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, instantly became a symbol of national pride and resilience. By 1942, the United States was fully engaged in World War II. Resources were scarce, and the nation was making major changes across all industries, including coin production. This was a time of rationing, patriotism, and innovation. While the most famous war year penny is the 1943 steel cent, the 1942 penny, made just a year before, holds a special place among collectors, and not just for its historical context. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny? After all, weren't millions of these minted? Yes, and that's what makes this story so intriguing. Over 657 million of these pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint alone in 1942. Additional millions came out of the Denver and San Francisco mints. But here's where things get exciting: despite the massive numbers, very few have survived in perfect, uncirculated condition. And even fewer have the rare characteristics or mint errors that make them especially valuable in the collector market today. Let's talk about what to look for first. Condition is everything. A regular 1942 penny with wear and tear from circulation may only be worth a few cents. But if you've got one that's crisp, sharp, and has been kept in pristine shape for more than 80 years, now that's a different story. Collectors and grading services use a scale from 1 to 70 to determine a coin's condition, with 70 being perfect mint state. A 1942 wheat penny that grades 65 or higher can fetch impressive sums, especially if it shows sharp details and strong luster. But here's where things really heat up: error coins. During wartime, U.S. mints were under immense pressure. That means the chances for small mistakes, misalignments, double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchets went way up. And those mistakes? They're exactly what collectors hunt for. For example, a double die obverse, where parts of the coin's design appear to be doubled, can turn a basic penny into a rare treasure. Even more valuable are coins that were struck on the wrong metal planchet, like bronze coins mistakenly struck on steel, or vice versa. These rare varieties are incredibly hard to find, but they're out there. There are also subtle differences between pennies minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Check for small mint marks under the date: D4 Denver, S4 San Francisco, and none for Philadelphia. Certain combinations of mint marks and rare features can drive the value up dramatically. And now, let's talk about the real kicker, the one you've all been waiting for. Among all the known 1942 Lincoln wheat pennies, there are a few that stand out like diamonds in a field of copper. We're talking about coins that have been authenticated, preserved in pristine condition, and often carry rare errors that make them nearly one dash of dash a dash kind die. In recent years, one such 1942 Lincoln wheat penny, flawlessly preserved and featuring a rare mint error, was valued at a jaw-dropping amount by collectors and dealers alike. So if you're holding onto a penny from 1942, and it's been kept in exceptional condition, or even better, if it has a known error, you could be looking at a serious payday. And when I say serious, I mean this: one such rare specimen of the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny has been valued at $132,000. Yes, you heard that right. One penny. 1 cent worth $132,000. This just goes to show you, treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars or diamond rings. Sometimes, it's tucked away in an old coffee can, or sitting unnoticed in a drawer for decades. That's the magic of coin collecting. So here's your challenge: the next time you're going through your change, or cleaning out a box of old coins passed down from a relative, don't overlook those wheat pennies. Especially the ones from the 1940s. You never know, you might just strike copper gold. Thanks for watching, friends. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare American coinage and want more content like this, go ahead and tap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another hidden treasure story. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your next coin be the one that changes everything. Coin 3. We're digging into a tiny piece of American history that could be worth more than you ever imagined. We're talking about the United States Lincoln wheat penny from the year 1946. It's one of those coins that often slips through the cracks. It looks common, ordinary, even boring to some. But in reality, it holds secrets that most people completely overlook. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be rushing to check your own coin collection. That old penny you never thought twice about? It could be worth a small fortune. Let's rewind the clock to 1946. World War II had just ended. Soldiers were returning home, the economy was shifting, and the country was rebuilding itself after years of global conflict. It was a year of hope, change, and new beginnings. And in the midst of this historic time, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of the most iconic coins ever created, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was already deeply rooted in American culture. But the 1946 version? It carried a special kind of post-war energy. While the war had affected metal production during earlier years, remember the steel cents of 1943, by 1946, the penny returned to its more traditional bronze composition, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. On the surface, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny seems like just another coin. Over 1 billion were minted across 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You'll know where yours came from by looking just beneath the date. No letter means it came from Philadelphia, a D stands for Denver, and an S marks San Francisco, but here's where the story gets interesting. Despite its large mintage, certain 1946 pennies are not like the rest. While most have been worn down from decades of circulation, some have been carefully preserved untouched, unmarked, and uncirculated. And these are the coins that collectors are willing to pay big money for, but condition isn't the only factor. Let's talk about mint errors, because this is where things get really exciting. Mistakes during the minting process are rare, but when they happen, they create coins that are unique, literally one of a kind. Double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even transitional errors can turn a humble penny into a collector's dream. Now, imagine this, a 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny that was struck using the wrong metal, or one that shows a dramatic doubling on Lincoln's profile or the words, "In God We Trust." These rare features turn what would otherwise be a 1-cent coin into a historical artifact, one that serious collectors compete to add to their collections, and it gets even better. Some 1946 Lincoln Wheat pennies were accidentally struck using leftover steel planchets from 1943. These are so rare that only a handful are known to exist. They look like a regular steel penny, but the date reads 1946. If you ever come across one of these, you're holding a treasure that could change your life even without errors. If your 1946 penny is in perfect mint state, graded at MS67 or higher by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But the rarest examples, the absolute top-tier coins with verified errors or extraordinary preservation, can go for staggering amounts. And now, let's talk about what you've all been waiting for. You might be wondering, what's the highest a 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny has ever been valued at? Drumroll, please. There is one very special 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny featuring a rare combination of error and condition that has been appraised and valued by experts and private collectors for an astonishing sum. That little copper coin, no larger than your fingertip, has been valued at $128,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. 0.1 cent. From 1946. Worth $128,000. This is the reason we do what we do. This is why coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history lovers keep searching, because sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight. So before you spend that old penny or toss it in a jar, take a closer look. You never know what secrets it might be holding. Coin 4. We're talking about the Lincoln Wheat penny from the year 1950, specifically the one minted in Denver, also known as the 1950 D Wheat penny. It's small, unassuming, and brown like any other old penny, but under the right conditions, it could be worth far more than 1 cent. So what makes this coin so special? Is it just the year? The mint? Or something more? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself checking through every old jar of coins you've got. Let's go back to the year 1950. America was settling into a post-World War II era. The country was changing. The economy was evolving. And while the big events of the world were making headlines, the US Mint continued doing its job, producing the coins we used every single day. Among those coins was the Lincoln Wheat penny. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, this penny had become a familiar sight in the pockets of Americans everywhere. Its distinctive reverse design featured 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent, a design that stayed in place until 1958. But even though the design hadn't changed, the value of certain pennies definitely had, and the 1950 D is one of those standout examples. Let's break it down. The D on the 1950 D Lincoln Wheat penny stands for the Denver Mint. That year, Denver produced over 334 million pennies. That's a lot of coins, which is why many people overlook this one and assume it must be worthless. But here's the twist: not all 1950 pennies are created equal. While most were used in everyday transactions, bouncing from hand to hand for decades, a few were kept safe. A few were forgotten in mint rolls, passed down in collections, or simply never touched. And these well-preserved coins are where the real value starts to appear. Now let's talk about what collectors look for. The condition of the coin is absolutely critical. In numismatics, that's the study of coins, professionals use a scale from 1 to 70 to grade condition. A coin graded as 1 is heavily worn, barely identifiable. A coin graded at 70 is perfect, flawless under magnification, just like the day it was minted. So if you've got a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny that's been handled, scratched, and circulated, it's likely worth face value or just a little more. But if you've got one that looks like it was just made yesterday, you could be holding something far more valuable than you think. But here's where things get even more interesting. Error coins. Minting isn't always a perfect process. Even with advanced machinery, mistakes happen, and when they do, collectors pay attention. Double strikes, off-center coins, repunched mint marks, and other anomalies can turn a common coin into an incredibly rare and desirable one. Some 1950 pennies are known to have repunched mint marks, where the D was accidentally stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. These kinds of errors are small, but to trained eyes and serious collectors, they make all the difference. Combine an error like that with near-perfect condition, and you've got a coin that stands out from millions. Now imagine this: you're sorting through an old box from the attic. Maybe it belonged to your grandfather. Maybe it's a collection you forgot about. You spot a wheat penny from 1950 with a tiny D under the date. At first glance, it doesn't seem like much. But it's shiny. It's crisp. The lines are sharp. There's no visible wear. It's practically glowing, and you wonder, could this be the one? Because yes, there is one particular 1950 Lincoln wheat penny that shocked collectors and appraisers alike. It was in pristine condition. It featured a rare mint error. It was authenticated, graded, and sold in a private sale that stunned even seasoned numismatists. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, that one small penny, the 1950 Lincoln wheat cent, perfectly preserved and bearing a unique mint error, was valued at an astonishing $125,000. 1 penny. Worth $125,000. That's not a rumor. That's not a myth. That's the reality of rare coin collecting. Sometimes the rarest and most valuable items are the ones hiding in the open, things most people ignore or toss into a drawer without a second thought. So if you've got a penny from 1950 with a D under the date, take a closer look. Check the condition. Look for errors. Get it evaluated by a professional coin grading service. Because there's a chance, even if it's small, that you might be sitting on something extraordinary. Coin 5. Because believe it or not, there's a specific version of the 1958 Lincoln wheat penny out there that has stunned the coin collecting world. A tiny copper coin from a time long past, that under the right conditions, could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So sit tight, because what you're about to hear might just send you running to check every old penny jar, every forgotten drawer, and every coin inherited from your grandparents. This is the story of how one of America's most iconic coins, the 1958 wheat penny, became a hidden treasure in plain sight. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln wheat penny was introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and what a legacy it created. From 1909 through 1958, the coin kept the same reverse design, 2 wheat stalks curving around the words 1 cent. It's a simple yet classic design, now fondly remembered by collectors and history buffs alike. In 1959, the design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, which makes 1958 the very last year the wheat penny was ever produced. That fact alone gives it some collector interest. But it's not just about the date. It's about what lies beneath the surface. In 1958, the U.S. Mint produced over 800 million Lincoln wheat pennies. The majority were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and a smaller number at the Denver Mint, marked with a small D under the date. With so many in circulation, most people assume the 1958 wheat penny is common. And in most cases, their right circulated versions in average condition are typically worth just a few cents to a couple of dollars. But here's where things get interesting. There's a rare variety of the 1958 penny that is anything but ordinary. It's what collectors call a double die obverse, meaning the front of the coin, including the inscriptions and Lincoln's portrait, appears doubled due to a minting error, and this isn't a subtle error you need a microscope to see. We're talking bold, obvious doubling on the words liberty, in God we trust, and even the date 1958. It's like looking at a coin that was stamped twice, slightly offset, before it left the mint. Now, here's the thing, this particular error wasn't discovered immediately. In fact, it wasn't until years later that sharp-eyed collectors began to notice something strange about a very small number of these pennies. To date, only a few dozen authentic 1958 double die wheat pennies are known to exist, making them one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck. So what caused the error? Most experts believe that during the die creation process, the master die was misaligned during one of the hubbing steps, resulting in that dramatic doubling. Because quality control wasn't as tight as it is today, a handful of these flawed dies made it into circulation, and the rest is numismatic history. What makes this coin so exciting is not just its rarity, but how few people know about it. Even today, it's believed that some of these coins are still out there, hidden, sitting quietly in someone's coin collection, or tossed in a change jar, or passed down in a dusty envelope from a grandparent. That's what makes this story so thrilling. Now let's talk value. If you've got a regular 1958 penny in circulated condition, it's probably worth between 1 cent and maybe $1 if it's in decent shape. If you've got one in uncirculated, mint state condition, meaning no scratches, no wear, and a strong strike, it might fetch a bit more from collectors. But if you have the 1958 double die obverse in excellent condition, well, that changes everything, because one such coin, a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with the rare double die error, preserved in pristine, mint state condition, was once sold and valued by experts, dealers, and collectors alike, for a jaw-dropping total of $118,000. Yes, that's right. A single penny. A coin you could have pulled from your pocket or found in a forgotten piggy bank. Worth $118,000. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about history, it's about discovery. It's about knowing that sometimes, the smallest things can hold the greatest surprises. And it's about realizing that incredible value doesn't always come in gold bars or silver stacks. Sometimes, it comes in copper. So if you've got an old jar of coins lying around, it might be time to take a second look. Grab a magnifying glass, study those old wheat pennies, especially any from 1958. Look closely at the lettering, the date, and Lincoln's image. If anything looks doubled or unusual, you might just be staring at a hidden fortune. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most surprising coins, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another coin discovery that could change your life. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your coins close, and never stop searching. Because you never know, the next rare penny could be sitting right in your hand.